As entrepreneurs, we all experience challenges in our business journey. I'm JT Story, and the Grappling Growth Podcast is my attempt at documenting my entrepreneurial journey while building my brands. I sit down with fellow entrepreneurs, understanding how they grapple with growth. I hope you find value and enjoy.
Ready?
Ready.
Sure. Third time lucky.
Yes.
Episode 100 of the Grappling Growth Podcast, and what a guest to have on the podcast. My jiu-jitsu coach, a guy who, we chill, we go out together, have a few chats, relationship advice. I appreciate it. My question to you is, the third time, what does growth look like to you?
Growth. I suppose for me, growth has happened when, for example, years ago, I unfortunately got addicted to drugs. Went for a very difficult time. But getting over that, I learned a lot of valuable lessons. I think I grew a lot as a person. It was a very traumatic time. And there's like PTSD, and then we spoke about this last time, something called PTG, which is post-traumatic growth, where you've gone through something pretty bad, but you come out of the other end and you're a better person, you've learned a lot about it. So I think for me, I had a lot of personal growth as a human, when I went through my drug addiction,
So with that and the post-traumatic growth, when do you think the growth really uncovered itself? I imagine, making an assumption here, it wasn't the first day you were kind of clean. It was a gradual process, and then you have to take some time to reflect and say, wow, actually, I'm so different to that person I was a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's a very gradual thing. Obviously, it took, when I went through this, it was like a year to actually get off all these things I was taking. And at the end of it, I did a lot of psychedelics, which helped me get back to get back to being me. But yeah, it was a very gradual thing. It was maybe over a year, 2 years, just a little bit. Things just kept coming to me, and I just went down, bit of a journey of like what led me to taking these things in the first place. So it's a very gradual thing.
And if you can open up a little bit, what do you think led you to taking those things?
Well, all addiction, it comes from some kind of trauma, but I think there's also some people that are susceptible to it. I think people with ADHD and OCD, things like this, I think we are a little bit more susceptible to having addictive personalities because of just the way we're wired, But a lot of it, it could just come from, I suppose my childhood, the school I went to, But yeah, I think I got addicted to these things. I was 28 at the time, so it was 4 years I got addicted to opiates and benzos.
And let's say I'm ignorant, I don't know what they are. What does the addiction feel like? What is the addiction of exactly? What does it make you want to do, not do? How do you function day to day?
Well, when people get addicted to things, like the first thing I got addicted to was benzos, and like I said, I was 28, but I was living in Thailand, where you buy those things over the counter. So a lot of it was ignorance, but like things like diazepam, like an anti-anxiety. And what I realized, I actually spent quite a bit of my growing up, I was actually a very anxious person. So the first thing I took, when the first time I took diazepam, all of a sudden the anxiety went away. This background anxiety that I just always had and didn't know any other way. It was just baseline me. So by taking that, I was able to be who I wanted to be at the time. Over the years, being addicted and coming off these things, I've got these things don't serve anymore. I've done a lot of work to see what led me down that road, but these things work for you for a short amount of time, or with the opiates, like again, it was just ignorance in Thailand to buy these things over the counter. At first I was taking them just to do a little bit of work, and I found it actually helped me like dial in and get a bit creative when I was doing my video editing. Then 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 3, and before you know it,
That's the thing with these. That's the thing with these addictions. You're not taking them with the intention. Like, being real here, no one sets out to be a drug addict or be in one of those positions, but then
it's a hole you fall into, and then like with me, I didn't even realize I'd fallen into it till it was too late. It was literally like maybe 2 years in, I'm like, it's amazing how you can lie to yourself. I learned a lot about that. So wow, you can really trick yourself, because so yeah, go on.
Did you have a moment there where you thought, I'm in too deep there?
Yes. Yeah, I think, I suppose the moment where I really realised, I had a major issue was when I was in Australia. I was out in Australia on a little trip, and I've ran out of actual painkillers, and it was the first time my body going into withdrawal. And yeah, that was at the moment I realised I had a problem, and I had to call up my folks back in England and just say, hey, got a bit of an issue here. And then, yeah, that was the beginning of, I suppose that's the start of the recovery, just admitting to yourself you have a problem.
And I mean, you probably went through tons of emotions. Did you feel ashamed and shamed?
Yeah, that's probably a big part of it. You're ashamed to admit to other people. People around me knew that because I was always a very physical, sporty person. At the time, I was a good, solid purple belt, but then everything started to decline. Like at first, these things like serve you, they give you some energy, but then, like I said, the one becomes two, and two become three. Before you know it, you're taking like 20, 30 pills a day. Now these things are actually affecting your cognitive function. They're affecting your whole life, your physical capability. I wasn't training as hard, so people around me were like, "Oh, you okay, Stu? Is everything all right?" I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. What are you talking about? I'm fine. So you do lie to yourself. But sorry, what's the question?
No, yeah. I said, what feelings do you feel? Shame?
Oh, right, yes, yeah. So yeah, I suppose there was a lot of shame and embarrassment to admit that I had a problem.
When you were in Australia, you called up your parents. Was that the first time you told them that?
Yeah.
What was their reaction and how did you feel?
So I'm definitely sort of like shocked, because I've always been a very sporty and healthy person growing up. But just shock, and I went back to England, and then just went through 1 year of brutal withdrawal.
Imagine that was the worst flight or set of flights you ever took in your life.
Sorry?
I imagine that was the worst set of flights.
Oh yeah,
straight back to
God.
the UK.
No, so first, because I went into withdrawal in Australia, so I had to get a flight back to Taiwan first
to get
to get more supply, just to tie me over until I went back to England. Yeah,
but
rough.
That's the thing that I hope the message of podcasts like these, and I do love these types of conversations because they're human at the end of the day. Before you're a jiu-jitsu practitioner or an entrepreneur, whatever it is, we're humans first, and we all have these traumas, insecurities, and addictions, however it is scaled, and it is really inspiring and helpful to loads of people when they hear someone like yourself just kind of break that down and just be really honest.
Yeah, I think it's important to talk about this on the podcast as well, because when I was going through my withdrawal, I didn't really have like a reference. I didn't have someone that I can listen to, like a podcast I listened to where someone went through something similar. He came out the other end okay, like come out the other end good. I did a podcast actually with the guy years ago. I did an Ivy Day, a friend of mine called Gareth, and I recorded my very own. I've only done 2 podcasts myself, but one of them was my friend Gareth who did Ivy Day with, and we spoke all about this. And that's his job is getting people off opiates, mainly using ibogaine. So we had this big 3-hour conversation, and he actually sent me the screenshot of a message recently of someone that listened to that conversation. And they listened to that conversation, and they were opiate addicts. They reached out to Gareth. Not only are they now on, the straight and narrow, they're now working with them in Mexico at the ibogaine clinic. They actually have a job now. So, yeah, just that podcast was worth recording just to help that one person. When I read that message, it actually made me tear up a little bit because that's what it was all about.
100%. That, for me, that's one of the real goals from doing these shoots is if one person can be impacted by the amazing guests that I can get on here, they can listen to what they're saying, they can inspire and look at these fragilities from people in a really honest way when they're not always put this mask on, or you see everyone thought, oh, this guy is amazing and impressive, but they see actually it doesn't matter who we are, everyone's got something in their closet, everyone's got you.
Yeah. Remember it was years ago, I was speaking a little bit about this high school grappling retreat where I was teaching a seminar, and afterwards one of the students said, yo, I heard, they come up to me and say, hey Stu, I heard you before talking about you were a drug addict. I'm like, yeah, just, but you seem like you put your shit together. I'm like, well, I do now. I just didn't that fucked up then, So I think it's good to see, you know, like things are going, but my life is going so well right now. Everything's, you know, good. Yeah, I'm living the dream right now. So yeah, I think it's good for people to, you know, I did go through a difficult time, but I come out the other end and life is good.
And that is such an important message there. I think, especially younger people, we feel, and I feel this, and you probably see it with a lot of the lads here in the trade, say, Alpi, for instance, finish university, and I think the psyche in the UK is, all globally, you finish university and the next thing is you get a good paying job. But now, how many people are going out, they finish university, they study for 3-4 years, get 60k worth of debt, they go out and they're just thinking, shit, I need a job. I've seen it with my brother, he just applied for jobs for months. Eventually he's got something and he looks really happy, but it's quite often a case where you go into a job, you hate it, and for me the message to what you said is very clear. It's that life is not linear and that you can have these challenging times, periods, but being self-aware, reflecting, and also showing that with people to understand that it's okay to be conditioned in plans.
Yeah.
So, you spoke about Abigail. Can you
Yes.
expand upon what that experience was like, how it helped you, the development?
Yeah, I did, yeah. But maybe I should backtrack a little bit. What actually got me off, and well, it was actually to get off of it, I had to go through a very slow withdrawal, a very slow taping, which took a year. And at the end of it, I was 3 months clean. But if you've been abusing drugs for many years, it can when you go through the withdrawal process and you taper down, it can take months, maybe even a year, depending on how many drugs. How much you've been taking and how long you've been taking it. So you go through the acute withdrawal and then you go through the post-acute withdrawal syndrome phase, which could, if you've been on Oxycontin for 2 years and you come off everything, it could be 2 years before you feel normal again. So it's a lot of people relapse. They go through the acute withdrawal and then the post-acute withdrawal lasts so long, they end up relapsing in that period. And that post-acute withdrawal syndrome, it's like anxiety, depression, chronic fatigue, and extreme cravings to take these drugs. So it took me a year to get up everything. I was 3 months clean, but I was going through that post-acute withdrawal syndrome phase of just extreme cravings. I know I could relapse. So I went online and I'm looking up for cures for addiction. And cure is a very strong word, but I was coming across ayahuasca. Now I've heard of ayahuasca and DMT, like most people probably from the Rogan podcast. But I just kept coming across and reading about ayahuasca and how it can help people with depression, anxiety, and addiction. So I don't know the sciences and that stuff, but I found a group on an island called Ffion off Copenhagen.
What was that?
Yeah. So
What is this?
this was 2016, May 2016, I think. Something like that. And just right away I'm reading about it, and I just knew there was something I was like, oh, this could be it. Because I was in such a very vulnerable state. I was in a very dark period of my life. But something was telling me this can help me, you know?
What do you think it was?
I don't know. They say you have this did not get too hippie, but they say you have a calling to do ayahuasca before you even go there and done it. And I gotta say, like, when I started reading about it, it's like I just kind of knew that this could be something that could help me. And I remember emailing this company, and they got back to me immediately. Fuck. Where shall I start from?
You saying you emailed this company?
I'm sorry, I get distracted.
Okay.
Yes. So I ended up finding this company in Denmark, and I emailed them. They got back to me right away. Before you know it, we're going out there 2 weeks later. So I don't know who these people are. Like, never met them, don't know anything about this. So I'm like getting on a plane from Manchester to Copenhagen, and then getting in a car with 3 people I've never met, driving 3 hours to a ferry point, and getting a 2-hour ferry to an island called Ffion, where only 100 people live on this island, and there's no police. So you're able to do these like spiritual ayahuasca, Cambo, San Pedro ceremonies there without being disturbed. But again, you don't know where you're going. So I didn't know I was going to be a sacrificial lamb or something. You don't know where you're going. So luckily, I did jiu-jitsu, so I was going to be all right. But I don't know what the science is on that stuff. But the first night we drank 1 glass of ayahuasca. And I suppose that was a bit of a test to see how you react.
Question quickly: how nervous were you feeling before you were taking that first drink?
You know what? I was a little bit nervous, but I was I had hit rock bottom, because at this point I'm off everything. I'm no longer taking any pills, but I have like no energy. Like I think my receptors in my brain were just all messed up from the abuse of drugs. I had no energy to do anything, no motivation. I could have seen the most beautiful sunset, the most beautiful woman, and felt nothing. That's where I was. So I went into this ayahuasca ceremony probably in the perfect state, because I went in not really caring like what was going to happen. It's like, well, I could fucking die right now. Like I've hit, you know, well, it doesn't matter, you know, because I fucked my life up. And then I think these things have a way of giving you what you need, because that night we all drank one glass the first night, and the second night we all drank 2. I had 3. Everyone reacts differently. So there was 18 people in the room. Some people are screaming, crying, going through that.
That must be a hard thing. If you've got someone screaming over there,
you know, like, that doesn't actually bother you. It's almost like you know they're going through something. Now, if someone was on the phone, you know, or something like that, that would bother you. But sorry, what was I?
You're saying someone's on their phone, distractions.
So people were going through some shit, but because I just went through the most brutal year of my life, I think it gave me what I needed. So my experience with the ayahuasca the second night was just overwhelming love. You know, it was exactly what I needed, and I woke up the next day, no cravings. You know, I had my energy back. I was happy. I had the spark back in my eye. I had the, you know, I felt myself again. I felt like it brought me back. And what I experienced that night, I can't even put into words. And before that, I was an atheist. I didn't believe in anything. I didn't believe in a life after death. I didn't believe in anything. Now I'm completely different, just from my own experiences with psychedelics. What do you believe in that? I believe that we are just, you know, we're in a physical realm, and we're all spiritual beings inside of a physical meat suit. But everything's energy, right? One day this meat suit will fail us, but the spirit, the soul, will carry on. We'll go into another dimension. And then it's very hard to put into words. I've done something called 5-MeO DMT. Now they say we're all connected. And it feels like when you do the 5-MeO DMT, that one's like the granddaddy of psychedelics. It feels like your consciousness is leaving your body, and you're temporarily going back into the singularity. And the singularity is what connects all one of us, and we're just like antennas.
Sure.
So like, it's like I said, it's very hard to put into words, isn't it? You know, so we don't have the language to fully articulate
how you
experience. I was in that for like 6 hours. 5-MeO DMT, you go in and out 4 times, so the whole experience can last anything between 1 and 2 hours.
You have to clear out your Saturday for that.
Yeah, with the 5-MeO, that one is different, because you can't just go, you can't go from this reality to that, because it could be too much. It's too jarring. They build you up. They start off with 1 scoop. Okay, and 1 scoop is like tiny, and you just kind of go in and out. It's like a little introduction. So you're still here, and then you come back out. Lasts maybe 5 minutes, and then you smoke it. So it's with like this kind of bomb-like device, and they light it, and then you inhale. So then when you come out of it, they're like, all right, now you're gonna go 2 scoops. So it's like twice as strong, but it's not breakthrough yet. So it's like a bit more. You go into that world, you're coming back out, and all right, now you're gonna do 3 scoops. So you're getting close to breakthrough, but not quite. And you come back out, and that probably lasts 10 minutes. And now it's like, all right, now you're gonna break through, and it's considerably stronger than the 3 scoops.
Can you break through on, say, 2 scoops or 3 scoops?
Maybe some people can. Yeah, I think they know what they're doing though. They know how to dose it correctly.
Yeah.
And they say to you, just trust. You're gonna be okay, and you're coming back. Because that's what can be so frightening about it. Because it feels like, oh fuck, I'm like, what? Like when the first initial lift off, it can feel like, oh, I'm dying. You know.
So when you were, I'm fascinated. So when you're in this, you're here.
Yeah.
You've done your 5 scoops. What does the experience feel like?
You're just gone. Like with the 5-MeO, it's like you completely disassociate from your body, and there's no time, there's no place. You don't even feel your body anymore. There's no you're not even, you forget who you are. It's like complete nothingness.
Right.
It's like you just completely just become one with consciousness, you know. But it can be terrifying, but also if you can accept, it can be like, for me, it was the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced.
Have you only done
And if that is a glimpse into the afterlife, it's pretty fucking good.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Have you just done once, or?
I mean, I don't know what anything is good. I've done the 5-MeO many times.
Okay.
Many times, yeah. I've done ayahuasca a bunch of times. Not as powerful as the first one. I've done San Pedro. I've done Cambo. Cambo is like the frog poison.
Oh yeah. I've done that.
That's like a good little detox. So all these things were. I would never like say, "Oh, but you got to go and do ayahuasca," because it's like anything, right? There's good black belts and there's bad black belts. It's not everyone you're gonna want to go and learn jiu-jitsu from. Yeah. There's like good shamans and bad shamans. You're playing with consciousness. Yeah. You're playing with this psychedelic medicine that has actually killed people and not always used for good.
Yeah.
So these things, you've got to be careful and really go. If you are seeking something out like this, make sure you get a good background check.
One of my friends, she lives in Australia. She was saying about her friend. She's traveled all around South America, but her friend did ayahuasca in Peru.
And one of our other friends, Conrad, who I introduced you to with this podcast, Travel Philly, he was looking at going last year with his partner. Didn't go at the end, but I put them in touch so they could talk about where to go. But as you said, it's not like just buying a plane ticket and then it messes up. You're dealing with the mind and psyche. So if you've got someone who doesn't have good intentions, then...
Yeah, and it's not something you're just rushing to do. You don't just like all of a sudden on a Saturday night decide to just go and do ayahuasca. There's something you've got to be prepared for, It's a good thing to do the ayahuasca diet at least 2 weeks before, maybe 4 weeks
What is the
before.
diet?
And diet is like this is the hardest bit, no stimulants, no caffeine, no meat. It's very strict actually. I don't believe in a lot of these things. There's some weird things like no sex, no marijuana. Basically try and have your body as squeaky clean. And if you're someone that's on antidepressants or like ADHD medication, you have to be off that 3 weeks before, completely. Maybe even a month before. Because ayahuasca, it's hitting the serotonin 2A receptor. So if you're on antidepressants, which are serotonin reuptake inhibitors, you can get something called serotonin syndrome. There's actually a documentary on Netflix where this guy who's got depression has gone out to Peru to, try and see if ayahuasca can help him, find happiness. And in that documentary, there's one of the places he goes to, someone actually did die, because they were taking antidepressants at the same time. So, yeah, with ayahuasca, you need to be really careful what you have in your body. But I would say for addiction, it was years later during COVID, I did ibogaine. So I would say for addiction, probably the best thing to do is, I would say ibogaine is probably more effective than ayahuasca.
Is ibogaine the male equivalent of ayahuasca?
Yeah, they say ibogaine is like the stern father, like telling you during the experience exactly what the fuck is wrong with you, and not like being nice about it. When ayahuasca is like the female
maternal, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to say when I did ayahuasca, every time and DMT, it's like a female presence that's there. It's like undeniable for whatever reason. The entity, the spirit, whatever it is, that's God, if it's the spirit of the plant, I don't know what it is. There is an intelligent entity of some kind that is helping you heal, and it's female. It's undeniable. It's one of those things that's not like bullshit. You just got to go and do it, and that's all I'm talking about.
It's really interesting. I listened to a podcast a couple of years back, and it led me down a bit of a rabbit hole. We were speaking about ayahuasca compared to
ibogaine, and 2-3 years ago, I had no clue what any of these things were. It wasn't a role that I really ventured into, and not that I've done it either, but it is something that intrigues me.
I remember hearing, can't remember his name for like a money, but he was a former special arms force operator who worked around the world. He set up a trust and foundation with his wife, and he went out to Mexico to do it as well. And he said that his wife picked him up in the car, and she just broke down crying. And she said, "I've got the overdue back." And he was like, "I could feel it myself." And he's like, "Since then, I've never been the same."
In a really good way.
Yes.
But he said to himself, and he's like, "I didn't touch any drugs before." He's like, "I didn't even touch a cigarette previously. Hardly ever drunk." But it was something that called me towards this. He got recommended it by a guy who he really respected. Sat down and consulted his wife, said, "What do you think about me doing this?" And he said it was incredible. And after listening to that, I think that massively changed my perception on drugs in general, and on, again, we've got, and not to get like too deep philosophical, but we can. We all have unresolved trauma. It's pent up, and sometimes we just break down, and that comes out. And these are those instances where maybe it can help us with self-discovery, and it can save you years of additional pain that you don't need.
Yeah. Like I say, I'm like quite, as difficult as that time was, I'm actually grateful for it in a way. 'Cause like I said, I started the podcast, it made me grow a lot as a person. And it's I've been able to help a lot of people since then,
That's beautiful. And I find if you're able to do it from that lens, I try to do it with this as a platform of people and helping people there. I honestly think if you can help people in the lens of their health, there's nothing out there that's better than that.
Yeah.
Kudos for that. Stuart, quickly, we just want to sponsor or shout out one of our sponsors.
I'm covering up the other one here, aren't I?
Adapt Jiu Jitsu. You're one of their athletes.
Yes.
They've got a lot of cool things coming up in the works. Big investors coming aboard. We don't want to spoil that, but there's a lot of stuff. I'm wearing the Adapt Jiu Jitsu top, the Adapt Jiu Jitsu rash guards. How long have you been sponsored by that?
Since the beginning. Actually, since the beginning, since they started. I actually met Adam. I met Chris first. Chris is one of the guys involved in the beginning, and then through Chris and Adam.
Yeah, years. Such cool guys. They've sponsored the podcast very kindly to them. Thank you. They're going to be doing really cool things. And again, Stuart, I think you're one of their first athlete players.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. He owed you Adapt Jiu Jitsu there. So, Stuart, I know one thing we spoke about is all the countries you visited, you've trained in. I mentioned to you, I'm back off to Brazil in a week's time once this is released. Talk to me. You've trained in Brazil, Thailand, gone down to Australia. You taught in Singapore as well, right?
Yep, yeah, for 1 year, yeah.
If you could look at the kind of memory log of all these travels, how would you describe each of the experiences, and what do you gain from, let's just say, Brazil, Thailand, pick another country?
I think I was just curious about different cultures. I just wanted to see the world,
So you said something really cool to me before. You just said you just didn't want to do an office job. You just didn't want to be there doing the same thing.
I couldn't do it. Yeah, when I came out of university, I got a job here in London, in Camden Town, for onlinefishing.tv. They're still going. I think they've got an app now. But it was like 8 a.m. I think it was 8 till 6. It wasn't even a 9 till 5. It was 8 till 6. It was just admin work. And I just thought, is this my life? I'm going to be working in an office and I'm doing something I don't particularly enjoy. And at this time, I took up jiu-jitsu and I just decided to quit that job.
How long have you been training jiu-jitsu for?
I was a blue belt. So just got a degree, got a job in London. I think it lasted 2 months. And I remember calling my dad, telling him how unhappy I was and I don't want to do this. And he's like, well, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I want to do jiu-jitsu. And he's like, don't be silly, you can't make a career out of it.
He probably couldn't even spell jiu-jitsu. I mean,
This is back in 2010, so it wasn't really a career option back then, was it?
My dad would turn up with my mum and be like, oh, how's that taekwondo going? Or, it's not, it's called jiu-jitsu. Oh yeah, it's just, I don't know, maybe it's rolling off the tongue, the internet easy.
But just quit that, and then it was actually fortunately the filmmaking that took off, which took me around the world. I was able to travel. My first half went to Brazil. I think that was 2011. I was in Brazil for 4 months, and when I was in Brazil, I was staying in a hostel called Connection Rio, and I met when I was staying there, I met the promoter of Cage Warriors, a guy called Patrick Vickers. He was staying there for a week, and then he hired me to work with cage warriors. So then I'm going all around Europe, filming cage warriors like Lebanon, Dubai, Jordan, Abu Dhabi. So I got to travel a lot then. And then I got the offer to go out to Thailand at Tiger Muay Thai in the video department. And when I was there, I ended up becoming the assistant jiu-jitsu coach. And then I decided to leave Thailand for a little bit, and I was traveling all over America for a while, just all different marts. I was in Orange County for a while, Bend, Oregon. I was in Florida. I was all over the place. And then I ended up, obviously, what we were talking at the beginning, during that time is when I hit the addiction. I had to go for a bit of take a year off in England. When I got through all that, that's when I moved back out. I moved to Singapore. I was teaching in Singapore for a year. And then after that, I ended up back in Thailand for 2 years as a head jiu-jitsu coach in Tiger Muay Thai. And then I ended up in Canada for 6 years teaching there. And now here I am. So I left England when I was 25 and I just turned 40. And I'm right back here where I started jiu-jitsu. So
In London.
in London, yeah. It's funny how it's come full circle.
Where were you training at before in London?
It's funny how I actually was living opposite Los Mosquitos, Baldy Gardens. I was living right there, and at the time it was Roger Gracie Academy on Kensal Road. So I was a blue belt, and I got a job in London, my first job, and I purposely got an apartment right around the corner from Roger Gracie Academy. So I was my job will be 8 till 6. And Roger Gracie's beginner class or something. I would always do 2 classes every day, starting at 6:30. So I'd have to get on my bike and race to the academy, to get those classes in. And do that every day.
So you do the morning class in the evening?
I would get up early in the morning. I'll go to the gym and do weights before work, and then I would do jiu-jitsu after.
Great.
Before I quit, just took it up full time.
So the moment for you when you realised, I'm not going to live this corporate life or admin life, whatever.
Yeah.
And you wanted to go all in with jiu-jitsu. What do you think called you to jiu-jitsu? Because you also said that you tried Muay Thai first, right? But
I always had an interest in martial arts. Even though I didn't do it as a kid, I loved watching, Van Damme, Bruce Lee, Steven Seagal.
Jackie Chan.
Always wanted to know. It was fucking cool knowing how to do these cool moves. But there was never anything around. I remember going to karate once and not really feeling it.
I tried Taekwondo.
Even Taekwondo. This isn't I don't know, didn't particularly enjoy it. And then when I was at university, I saw UFC on TV, like everyone else. And then I was working in a gym called Bannatyne's Health Club just as a receptionist. And I asked one of the personal trainers, what's this UFC stuff? It looks pretty good. Is this real? And he's like, yeah, that's MMA. I'm like, what's MMA? And he took me along. He actually did Muay Thai. And he took me along to my very first Muay Thai session. So I did Muay Thai for a couple of weeks, and I know there was an MMA class on afterwards. So I'd stop and watch that, and I'd see them all on the ground, and I'm like, this looks pretty good. And then one day I got the courage to go and do an MMA class. Everyone would take me down and mount me, and then just tee off. And I just felt helpless. I'm like, right, what is this ground stuff? I want to know this stuff.
Yeah.
Because I felt like that. I just couldn't move when people would put me on the ground. I just didn't know what to do. So that seemed more effective to me.
I was talking to a guy, I can't remember his name last night, when we were in your class. And he was telling me about his mate. He said that his son got into a fight yesterday, and he was quite pissed off with him because he didn't use his jiu-jitsu. He's like, you've been training jiu-jitsu for 4 or 5 years. You end up, his son's 10 years old, you end up pulling the other kid's head. He's like, he's done competitions and whatnot. He's like, I was pissed at him like that. He's like, why have I paid all these memberships for him not to use his jiu-jitsu? I'm not saying hurt the other kid, but neutralise him, just get his back and just say to him, that's it. And it's one of those things that, and we've all done it with our friends when our friends have spoken a little bit, and even for me as a blue belt against anyone who hasn't done it, it's unfair anyways. So at black belt level, it's just levels above. But you do find that once you feel that helplessness, at least for me it was, you think, it's something I just want to pursue here.
Yeah. It is a very, it's fun as well, isn't it? There's a lot of other things to jiu-jitsu as well. There's a good community around it,
Yeah.
Made a lot of good friends in this space.
Yeah, I think the thing that I do love about jiu-jitsu, I remember when I was in Australia years back, and I messaged the gym, and they were like, you come in Sydney, come along for our Christmas party as well. Never met anyone,
but without even going to a session, they invited me to their Christmas party. And I think you'll never get that, or rarely ever get that, in a recreational gym or Pilates or other sports. But the community there is just, you do jiu-jitsu, there you go.
Yeah, it's funny. You could like, no matter where I've been in the world, like I just go into a random gym in Jordan, and you'll just have a connection there.
Yeah.
You train with someone, and just because it's such a small community, obviously it's getting bigger and bigger now. There's some kind of link there. You know?
You get their Instagram.
You got friends in common.
You come to London, it's like, this guy could be a serial killer. And you're like, did you do this? It's okay.
It would be funny if you go into like someone accidentally walked you into the street, and then you have a little square off, and then
they pull up.
Oh, like I don't know, like something happens, and then you go for an underhook and he gets an overhook. You probably stop it. It's like, yo, you train? When are you training?
You see those? That is funny. There's a question I have on mind. You've trained with a lot of high-level people. Van Roja, you trained with Alexander Volkanovski back in Thailand, Craig Jones. Your Mount Rushmore of people you've trained with, who would that be?
Jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, you've actually trained with them. Okay. You trained with them. Right. I would say Marcelo Garcia, Braulio Estima, Roger Gracie.
Craig Jones definitely up there.
Is it just male?
That's a female, isn't it?
I would say Ffion, for sure. Yeah, Ffion, her technique is just, it is amazing.
So slick.
Yeah, she's the girl, wasn't she? Yeah, so, I would say is that 5?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I mean, you've spoken about so many different people, that the OG Brazilians, and then kind of the more new school, younger, Craig Jones, Ffion Davies. How do you think, from your experience rolling with those people there, how do you think the game of jiu-jitsu has evolved from, and how many years have you been training? 18 years?
I started in 2008. 2008?
Yeah, 18 years.
Yeah, 18 years.
For you, and it's going to be so different because you started as a white belt, now you're a black belt. How would you personally say your experience and how you've seen the game evolve?
It's so different. I mean, I got my black belt in 2015, and just I would say the standard of belt has changed. You know, when I got my black belt in 2015, in terms of the technique I knew, that's probably like a purple belt of today's standards.
Really?
So I got a black belt really without knowing any leg hooks, because it wasn't really a thing back then. I knew a toe hold and a knee bar. I didn't really know. I think I knew a heel hook, but I didn't know the systems around it. So now I think the standards of belt changed for me to get a black belt. Like, it's all been systematized now. So when I was doing, for like 10 years, I would like just go to training and just get loads of hard rounds in. And I would get tough, got a good base and got good reaction time, but I don't think I was too technical. And then over the last few years, like with, I think people like John Danaher, Gordon Ryan, and Craig Jones really have changed the game in terms of the technique. Obviously, BJJ Fanatics coming out with instructionals, health things.
Yeah.
And John Danaher was able to take techniques that are already out there, but he made jiu-jitsu into a system and made these subsystems. So now there's a different way of learning, and the young people are learning at a faster rate, because there's a different way of learning now. So I've made my most improvements probably in the last, probably like the last 5 or 6 years.
And do you think in that evolution, or if we look at just the last 5-6 years, do you feel your brain's been able to process jiu-jitsu in a different way to how it was before?
Yes, yeah. Now, like, I'm very conscious of what I'm doing, Before, I think a lot of my jiu-jitsu was just unconscious. I couldn't even, when I first started teaching, I wasn't even aware of how I was doing X guard. I could do an X guard sweep, I could pass guard, but I didn't really realize I didn't understand what I was actually doing every step of the way. So now I really understand what's going on. I'm conscious of the actual technique and why it works, and I try to explain that when I'm teaching.
So, for you, when you're examining students there, when you see those people, and I think I'll ask you a selfish question: as a blue belt, what do you think I would need to do to fundamentally develop my game to then get to a purple belt? I don't feel I'm chasing those belts, but they are nice to have.
Yeah.
But the structure within my game.
I think it's just long-term consistency, just to get to that next belt level. That's all it is. You're just going to keep showing up every day, but it's good to show up with a bit of an intention, what you're doing, like a focus, like maybe, because you obviously want to be doing what you're doing in class, but when it comes to rolling time, like all right, I'm just going to be focusing on the half guard this month, and try and get really good at that. Or maybe I'm just focusing on guillotines, like chin straps, but we're just going to keep going for the neck, keep getting these guillotines, getting it stronger and stronger. So, yeah.
I find what I've been trying to do recently, and big shout out to Arma for letting us have this space and recording here, is working with and training with so many different people, bodies here. You get to learn a lot more, because a lot of people came from their own journey. They're used to their system, they're used to who they train with. But I find guys like Chris, for instance, he's a purple belt, and him and I, we roll quite a lot, and I'll say to him, you're just a better version of me, you're just a few kilos heavier, like, you're a pretty strong guy.
He's getting good as well. He's quick.
Yeah, but him and I, we play such a similar game, both working half guard, and I say to him, now my brain, before, I'm just dive in, playing top pressure, and now I'm thinking, okay, I need to really edge out to then go in and, someone said it recently, Jiu-Jitsu is like, in order to take a step forward, quite often you have to take a step back. Do you agree with that?
Well, I suppose, does that mean like getting caught in things?
Not getting caught, but I probably didn't break it down as well as I should have. But you're trying to go for an attack, and the instinct is to just go for the attack. But sometimes it's a case of taking a few steps back, not getting caught with stuff, but maybe repositioning your body, your balance, your weight in a position where instead of, let's just say you're in someone's half guard, you want to move yourself backwards in order to go forward.
Yeah, I would agree with that, yeah. Stuff at times. Yeah.
There you go. Anyway, my selfish question for Jiu-Jitsu. So, those guys you train with, I know that. How was the experience training Volk back in Thailand?
Yeah, I was training with Volk before he broke out, became, the GOAT, the pound for pound #1. But yeah, he was always, always a hard worker. That's what I noticed. Like when I was at Tiger Muay Thai, there was a lot of those people ended up becoming champions. Valentina, PTM, Volkanovski, Dricus. What I noticed about these people, there was a lot of high level athletes out there. These were the ones that were going out partying. Yeah, they were up at like 6 a.m. doing the runs. Not going out drinking, not smoking weed, not chasing a nanny around. They were very focused. But Volkanovski, he always had really good jiu-jitsu. I remember way back then, he had good wrestling. I don't know anything about striking, but obviously he's a good striker. Yeah. He was always a good dude as well, a lot of my friends, I've lost contact with him, but a lot of my friends, close friends, are still very close friends with him.
He just seems like such a standard.
Yeah, he is.
Cooking with Volk Shadow,
last time I saw him was he came to my jiu-jitsu class in Thailand actually. I think that was 2018 and 2019 was the last time I saw him.
Yeah, because he really started to surge out 2019, 2020 when he just went on there.
Yeah, Valentina, she was training there from, I was training with her before she got into MMA, I think. Maybe she had a couple MMA fights. Because she was, when I first met her, it was way back in 2012, she was just making the transition from, I think it's kickboxing to MMA. Dricus was out there back in 2012, and he was just an amateur, he was a white belt, overcomer. Now he's a US, former UFC champion. So it's funny how maybe a PT and he'll come to my classes every single day.
He's champion again?
Champion again, yeah. I have a feeling he would win that rematch.
I was quite shocked, admittedly, I thought.
Because if you watch the first one, and then he actually, out of everyone, he did the best, in the first fight. Murad, outworked him, but you could see, if you go back and watch the first one, with a few adjustments, you could see he could take off of that, which he did.
Yeah, I mean, I think the third match has to happen.
Oh, it has to. Yeah, I think Indiana takes the third one as well, to be honest.
They talk about that psychology of if you beat the person, then you're more likely to beat them again, because it's just mentally you've got that edge. It's like, well, we did this 6 months ago, and but hey, it so much so in MMA, it isn't quite as much.
Yes, yeah,
which is exciting. Your upcoming fight in Liverpool.
All right, yeah. Grappling Fest. I'm competing at the end of the month.
Who's your opponent?
A guy called Luke Johnson. I don't know much about him. Black belt from Chester, I think. Yeah, don't know too much about him, to be honest. I've watched a few of his matches. I know he's doing ADCC trials this weekend, so he's probably in tip-top shape, you know, and I think he's been competing quite regularly.
As you are?
I'm always in shape. I haven't been competing regularly recently, but it's all good.
Just saving it for special occasions.
Yes. Yeah. Hopefully my arm doesn't fall after this match. We'll see.
Yeah, shock
A little bit of an injury right now, but it's all good.
If anyone wants to sponsor Stuart for shockwave therapy,
Yes, I would love that.
head across. Head across. He'll promote your brand.
Yeah.
So Stuart, question to you. Everything you've gone through, life experiences and that, what advice would you give to a 20-year-old that might be tuning into this podcast right now?
I would say just do what you're passionate about. You know, whatever it is you really truly want to do, do that. Do what makes you happy in life, you know. Chase your passion. Because, you only live once, and for all we know, there's no sequel. So you got to make the most of this temporary life, haven't you, you know?
And for you, when do you think you realised that?
I realised that quite early on, I think. And I think it was probably around of like 18, 19. And I think it was... Actually, no, it was a little bit later on. I think I learned that through meeting people like Braulio Estima and Roger Rodriguez and my professor, Lucio, because they didn't have a normal job. You know, they chased their dreams that made them happy. And there wasn't really a good career option then, but they made it work, you know. And that inspired me, you know. Here's some people that may not have the big fancy car and the mansion, but they're fucking happy. I could see these are generally happy people. And I've been around other people that had money, had the car, had the big house, but didn't seem particularly happy, you know, seemed pretty stressed. So, yeah.
For me, one of the best things that I get out of traveling is you go to Brazil's, Indonesia, Thailand, Tunisia, and you see people with nothing, relatively nothing compared to you. They don't have the cleanest clothes, they don't have the new tonics or whatever fancy stuff, but they have love with each other. They understand that they've got family, they've got people around them, they've got clean water, which I think is stuff that we take for granted often.
Yeah, we do.
How much shit is going on in the world that is really catastrophic, and that's real suffering. People just give a lot, just have little. And I think to that point, if we look at those experiences and we can look at working towards our dreams, our passions, our vision and goals, that's really where fulfillment comes from. For me, fulfillment comes from from actively doing your purpose, your passions. Even this podcast, this is partly part of my dream, I guess. And I probably didn't think of that 5 years ago, but when I think of my 3 words that I use to summarize and describe myself, say curious is one of them for sure. So when I lean into that, this gives me an opportunity to sit down with people like yourselves and other incredible people who come on here to look into that. So I think that's a really powerful message there. So with that, this ties in nicely to something I was thinking about that I heard you say. We were talking about, I forgot the guy's name. He Poppy and Ffion, they did a retreat in Cornwall, is it?
Yes, Big Andy.
That's it.
Yes.
You said that what he has kind of a complex there. That's one of your dreams.
Yes, yeah. My dream, absolute dream, is I have a friend in Mendocino, California. Here's a place called Grappling Retreat, and I've been there in small camps many times over the years. And it's got he has a house. He's got the main clubhouse, his house, the dojo, and all these dormitories on this piece of land in the middle of the redwoods. So it's so secluded. When you go there, he has these week-long retreats. He brings out Roger Gracie, Mason Fowler, Wagner Rocha, myself, Ben Dyson, and people just go out there. And I think it's anything between 2,500 to 4,000 for the week. So there's 2 classes a day every day for a week. It's my dream to have something like that, but in British Columbia, but not just jiu-jitsu. I want to have my own piece of land, retreat. So it's like a dojo, but there's also it could be yoga retreats, but I would also like to have it to help people with addiction problems as well, because that would be a good place to do something like that. Help people get off opiates or whatever it is. you know, in a very nice scenic setting, you know, where you're in nature, because that really helps. You know? So that's my dream, which I will make happen eventually.
What's the, if you've got it ready, what's the name?
Oh, there is no name yet. No. Yeah. I have to think long and hard about that one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well,
Something meaningful.
I'll definitely be there.
Yeah.
That's going to be unbelievable. Sure, what's next for you and where can people find you?
Next for me, I've now got an amazing dream job teaching here at Arma in London. So yeah, I'm going to be very focused, teaching and training here for the next few years and see what the future holds. Sorry, what was the question?
Where can people find you?
Oh, where can you find me? Instagram, YouTube, you know, just look up Stuart Cooper Films.
Sure, thank you so much.
Nice. Thank you.